Story 1. Paint and draw, then share it with strangers. I did not grow up with art and had absolutely no confidence in attempting it. During our quarantine this spring, I taught myself how to watercolor and draw birds, and I am now selling prints and stickers and donating 100% of the profits to bird conservation groups. I just love birds. Story 2. So many things. Getting older and caring less about what people who do not matter to me think of me has been extremely liberating. I have also learned that most people are not actually paying attention when you do something stupid or embarrassing. People are usually off in their own little worlds. I was a very self-conscious and eccentric child, but adult me has fully embraced my weird side, and it is wonderful. I am who I am meant to be, and I am surrounded by amazing people. Story 3. Swim without a shirt on. My sisters made fun of how I looked without a shirt on when I was like 12, and it stuck with me for years. Just the other day, I went to the beach and realized that I finally don't care anymore. Story 4. Not really at the present, not since February, but going to the cinema alone. The first time I ever did, back in 2016, it felt weird to be honest. I even had a mother ask me if I was waiting for anyone when I saw Kong Skull Island, but now I actually prefer it most times. It means I don't have to worry about scheduling with a friend on what day is best. Don't get me wrong, I have still gone with friends, but 90 to 95% of the time I go alone. I can do whatever I want before or afterward, whether to look around the shops or just go straight home. Story 5. I used to be terrible and my accent still sucks sometimes, but after more than 20 years of practice and a Bachelor of Arts degree from an English university, now I'm quite proud to be bilingual. Story 6. Have conversations with people. I used to basically not be able to talk to anyone for any length of time without being drunk. Small talk and deep conversations were super hard for me. Now, 6 months later, I have talked to people for hours that I have just met about anything under the sun. Story 7. Go out in public and be around crowds. When I first started using a wheelchair, I was hyper-aware of people staring at me, avoiding getting near me, or acting strangely when interacting with me. Decades of being a wheelchair user have desensitized me to all that, and I hardly notice now. Story 8. Say no. A lot of people struggle with saying no. I used to struggle with it as well. I got a lot of advice to be unapologetic. You don't owe anyone anything. You don't have to give a reason to say no. That is foolish advice. That is obviously going to harm your relationships. Instead, I realized that most people are reasonable. I present my case in a way that the other person can understand and explain why I need to say no. Almost everyone understands and does not want to put you in a difficult situation. If the other person is not reasonable, there is no point in explaining further. Then you just have to say no, but you need to try to explain first. Story 9. Talking on the phone. I was cripplingly shy as a teenager, to the point I'd have to script what I was going to say before doing something like phoning for an appointment. Then, at age 21, I got a job in a call center, and nowadays I can phone anyone with ease. Though I'd never say it's my favorite thing, I'll even complain about shoddy customer service on the phone now. Flood therapy works. Story 10. Embrace my absolute love for pink after years of deluding myself into believing I wasn't like the other girls. Edit. My first bunch of awards. So glad everyone's breaking out of their shell into the wonderful world of pink. Now I must ask, red pink or purple pink? Story 11. I'm the fat girl in the gym. For my entire adulthood, I would hold back my workouts for fear of jiggling, sweating, boobs bouncing, and heavy breathing. I get red in the face with any exertion. Finally, I got some quality clothes that fit properly, really good bras that keep everything in check, and now I'm really proud of how hard I work. I sweat through my clothes every workout. My hair gets soaked, and I love leaving drips underneath my heavy bag. Now my coaches use me as an example of what to do if you want higher intensity in the exercise we are doing. I love it. Only 2 more hours until class starts. Story 12. Dance. Whenever the opportunity arose through puberty and early adult life, I would just stand in the corner, too shy to do anything and caring a lot about how I looked to people, sidestepping shyly if I felt forced. to the point of getting nervous about the fact that I was not doing anything. Then, one weekend at a music festival, something clicked that felt completely out of the blue, and I started flailing my arms around and making the silliest moves to the sound of the music, and I had the best time of my life. If there is a party, I am dancing, all night with everyone and anyone. And it looks ridiculous, but I will be damned if I am not having the best time. Story 13. Eating alone in restaurants, at least before the COVID pandemic. I used to be self-conscious about it, but now I don't give it a second thought. Life is too short to not have the meal you want, particularly if it's going to perk up your mood, on account of worrying about what the people around you might think. Enjoy yourself and what you do. Story 14. Being out in the woods. I was born and raised in New York City, so even though I really wanted to experience these things, it always seemed so inaccessible and scary. But one afternoon, after a difficult day, I just said forget it, did some research and found a trail that was within an hour of the city and suitable for beginners. I wasn't able to finish the trail that day. It felt like it went on forever, and I decided not to continue, thinking I would get lost. But I still enjoyed the experience and decided I would do it again. It wasn't until a year later that I was able to fully hike a trail and experience the amazing views. I got really into it and learned more skills like navigating and wilderness survival over time. Now, even though I am a born and raised city girl, I'm also an avid hiker, camper, kayaker, backpacker, and overall feel more at home in the mountains than I do in this concrete jungle. Thank you for the award. I'm super proud for my first award on Reddit to be a Tree Hug Award. Anyone reading and thinking they want to try outdoor sports, please do. The planet needs more advocates to protect its beauty. Just brush up on the policy of leave no trace before heading out there to minimize our impact on these beautiful places. When in doubt, just remember, take only pictures and leave only footprints. Story 15. Telling the truth. I used to be so terrified of disappointing people that I would lie to keep them happy. They say the truth will set you free. That's true. It will also make some people not like you, but that's okay. Story 16. Asking for help. I've gone through more trouble and passed up more opportunities than I'd like to admit because I was afraid of asking for someone to help me. Needing help doesn't mean you're weak, and accepting help doesn't mean pity. Story 17. Driving. Still cautious and safe, but less terrified of making mistakes and freaking out. That and driving any new cars. If someone asked me to drive a truck or sports utility vehicle at age 18, I would have said no way, but now I have a little experience and wouldn't think anything if someone asked me to now. Story 18. I go out to eat alone. I mean, I'm married and that's great. We go out together, but now and again, I just like my own company, a good meal, and a good book. No cares given. Story 19. Wearing pink and purple as a male. I always felt weird about it until my wife finally convinced me to get shirts for work in those colors. Now they are basically all I wear. I get a lot of compliments and I feel great in them. Story 20. I was going to say rim jobs, then I saw all the thoughtful answers. Edit. Thanks for the awards, folks. I'll pay it forward with rim jobs, of course. Story 21. Talk like a goofball to my kids. Read in silly voices. Back when I only had one kid, I wasn't even comfortable doing it when I was home alone with him. Now I can be silly at the store, in front of strangers with my kids. Story 22. Not living my life according to other people's opinions or expectations. I go around barefoot, grow vegetables, and finally have chickens. Life is so good not being stressed out all the time. Let go of toxic people and get a kettle. It will change your life. Story 23. Talk to executive-level audiences always made me feel weird in the past because they were so senior to me. Now, I am a bit older and a bit wiser. I have more experience and exposure to chief suite level folks. Most of them are really nice, down-to-earth people. I also now talk to my dog in public, so take my previous statement how you'd like relative to this statement. I do not give a F*** if you think it's weird anymore about my talking to my dog like he is a person. He understands what I am saying most of the time. Story 24. Saying I dislike football is like a cardinal sin in the United Kingdom. During middle school, I pretended to like it to try and fit in, picked a team, Arsenal, and tried to watch games. It made me dislike it even more. Through secondary school and into my first job, when I said I didn't like football, it was usually a cue for some form of harassment. Not a real man. What are you, gay? Etc. Now I'm happy to say it and couldn't give a toss how it's received. Story 25. I have one misaligned tooth that makes my smile look like I'm missing a tooth. As a kid, my parents couldn't afford to get me braces. I would cover my mouth and laugh as a kid. I got laughed at by a lot of kids at school and received a lot of mean nicknames. Then my first boyfriend came along, who made me realize I am amazing the way I am. He made it a point to compliment my smile every time we went out. It's been getting better since then. I'm close to 30, and I couldn't really care anymore. Now, I find it one of my cutest features. Story 26. Having sex and being open about what I want with a partner in bed. When I first had sex, I was mortified with the act itself and telling a partner what I liked and disliked. I never thought that years later I could not only love doing it, but be able to say what pleases me and what doesn't. I was really always so embarrassed about it. Not gonna lie, I'm not sure if it was speaking up or the fear of being rejected while being in such a vulnerable position, but now I wonder why I was so embarrassed because it actually makes the experience better for both myself and the other person. Story 27. I got a job in sales that required me to give presentations in front of people. After my first solo presentation, the customer actually told me how bad I was and how I would never make a good salesman. I went back to my car and threw up. Now I give presentations multiple times a day, and I'm so used to it that I can devote most of my attention to gauging audience reaction, allowing me to adjust the pitch and emphasize or de-emphasize different topics based on their interest. That original customer got demoted about a year ago, which was pretty sweet. Now I deal mostly with his former assistant, who got his old job. Story 28. In India, you're looked down upon if you listen to Hindi music, read Hindi books, or are a fan of Bollywood. Growing up, I felt the need to completely westernize myself. Listen to English music exclusively, only watch Hollywood movies, the whole shebang. In the last few years, I've been embracing my native language and my culture. It's taken a lot of rediscovering my past, amazing movies I missed out on because I was too cool to watch them, and Hindi music that I was too cool to play on the speaker. It's liberating to embrace your roots. Story 29. Letting my weird out. I used to try to fit in with everyone. I pretended to like sports, shooter games, or whatever the group was into and talking about. Finally, I just embraced the fact that I'm different enough from the normal crowd, and I don't care. I like the obscure Japanese games people in my area haven't heard about. I like collecting cool-looking bottles and glasses and pretending I'm a wizard making potions. I like listening to show tunes. I like Disney movies. I like all those girly alcoholic drinks. I don't know, what seems weird to people and what I enjoy seem to line up pretty frequently. Story 30. Fake confidence turned into real confidence after a little while practicing. Very thankful. I used to be so shy. Now I have lots of opportunities open for me because I just went for it. Story 31. Embrace the power of the pause. When asking someone a question, allow the silent pause after the question to build tension that compels them to answer. The longer the silence, the more compelling the tension, the more effective it is to get someone talking. Story 32. Calling myself a lesbian somehow made me uncomfortable, and I would just call myself gay. It wasn't internalized homophobia. I just didn't like the word. Story 33. Email my professors when I have questions. It used to terrify me. Go out by myself. Even going to the grocery store used to make me anxious. Now I'm totally fine going to bars alone. I'm also very slowly coming around to the idea of dancing, just when no one else is watching. Suck it, post-traumatic stress disorder. Suck it, Jeff. Story 34. Confronting the problem or the people who have problems with me rather than just making small talk behind their backs. Then offering a solution to resolve it between us. Before, I really didn't know how to properly address confrontation without sounding impolite, but now that I've had a lot of practice in a corporate environment, it's been a godsend. Now it's become easier to discuss issues with people who work with me, above me, or are part of my team, and it equally reduces bad blood in the office. It wasn't easy, and I don't think as you get older you'd be automatically equipped with this skill. But having a solution-oriented mindset and genuinely wanting a peaceful life for yourself will push you to see a lot of other perspectives. Now, when confronting, the first thing I ask is what the root cause was, how it developed, and how we can resolve it more amicably. Story 35. Watching cartoons even though I'm a grown-up. When everyone was watching Game of Thrones, I was obsessed with Gravity Falls and Hilda. Everyone was like, EW. I find them amazing. I used to close my laptop when I saw someone was coming nearby. I don't anymore. They can shove my interests in their faces. Story 36. Speak my mind. Not in an impolite way. Just stop worrying about what other people think of every little thing. What do you want to eat? Wanting cheeseburgers. Oh, I don't know. What are you in the mood for? Now I'll just say cheeseburgers, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So much less exhausting. Story 37. Compliment strangers. One time I was really sick and felt like I was dying, but a flight attendant stopped me as I was leaving the plane to tell me I had an amazing smile, and it made me feel so nice. It was easier to get through the day. Ever since then, I decided I would give one stranger a genuine compliment a day. It started out as very anxiety-inducing. I felt weird stopping strangers for a second to give them a compliment. But most of the reactions have been very positive over the years, and sometimes I'd catch them smiling to themselves if I passed them again in the store or wherever, and I like to think I've boosted someone's day a little bit. Now it just comes naturally, and I barely even think about it before it happens anymore.